Hello friends, good morning, good afternoon. In this session, we are going to see stored procedure in SQL Server. So we can call it as a SP as well, or we can call it as a stored proc. These are the some points we have to cover in this session. What is meant by stored procedure? Then what are the terms related to it? Then what is the characteristics of stored procedure? How to create it? How to create a parameterized stored procedure? And there are some in parameter, out parameter as well. How to execute it? How to alter it or modify it? And how to drop it. So let's start. Stored procedure is nothing but the group of SQL statement, or we can call it as a precompiled SQL statements. And if we have to write the same query over and over again, then you can save the specific query as a stored procedure. Suppose this is the query, select star from daily meal collection where date time is equal to 10th of July 2023. So if we have to write the same query and from application side, it will pass the date and it will give us the result, correct? So same query again and again. Instead of that, we can create a one stored procedure and we can just pass the parameter to that particular stored procedure. So what will happen means reusability, means there is a no need to write the same query again and again. So best way to means this is the reusable of the code. And reduce the network traffic, means suppose here is the one statement and suppose there are 5 to 6 statement in a consolidated order, so we have to just pass it from the application side. Then there is a network size, means actually in the network there is a we are getting the large input, and instead of that we can create the stored procedure, means execution call with parameter. Then what is the benefit of it? Reduce the network traffic, means we are getting the just this call, means stored execute, then stored procedure name and parameter name we have to pass it from the application side, then you will get the data instead of whole code, correct? So this is nothing but the reduced network traffic. And execution plan retention or a compile one time only, means what is that? Actually suppose, let's say here is the simple select query, correct? And we are executing it one by one or many times, then every time execution plan will generate in the background. But in case of the stored procedure, there is execution plan will generate at a one time only. In the background, SQL engine will handle that particular execution plan, and based on that you will get the result. Okay, so first of all, we will see practically how to create it, how to alter it. So this is the simple query, means we are getting the data of the particular 10th of July, correct? So if we have to make a parameter to it, so parameterize, let's say I am making as a 12th of July. So instead of that, we have to pass the parameter, right? Here I am creating the parameter, means declaring the parameter, declaring the variable, we can call it as a variable, and just we are the setting the value, correct? And then this variable is assigned to here, means whatever the date time belongs to that particular value assigned, and then we are filtering out the data, means 12th of July we are getting the data, right? So how to create the stored procedure? Very simple, means here is the syntax for that. Create procedure, procedure name as, first of all I am not making a parameterize. Here is the statement as I shown here, means select star from daily mail collection where just copy paste it, correct? Or if there is a no any parameterized procedure, then here is the very simple count of one, means what it does, actually it will give us the result count of one from daily mail collection, correct? And just execute this procedure. Execute it means create the procedure, correct? And inside there is a one select statement, right? And right now I have to call this stored procedure, means how to execute that stored procedure. Just execute is the word, and then exec and stored procedure name. So it will give us the return result as a 69 and count one as a row count of table. Yeah, I if I am going to execute it again, then yeah, it is saying there is already procedure available with same name. So make the instead of create, use the alter word, means it altered, and yeah, execute. So you will get previously there is a miss no columns, correct, and right now we are getting the row count of table as the column name, and this is call it as a result set, correct. And let's say miss we seen how to create it, how to alter it, and if I have to make a parameterized stored procedure, then it is a very simple, just right now I am passing the parameter for that particular date how many rows are available, correct. So this is the date parameter, but how to pass that parameter input as a input parameter, correct. And let's say here is the open parenthesis and date is the parameter I am passing, means date is the name, or you can call it as a date input. Input date is also fine, input date. And then what is the data type? Date, correct. So date is the data type we have to pass, right? And input date will come over here. And I will show you in at the end. I will create a one, means if we pass the null value, then what will be how to retrieve all the records or how to handle the null. Okay. Yes. First of all, I am altering it. Yes. So input date means this is the parameter we are passing in. Input date, and how to call it, just supply the parameter name with actual value. What is the value we have to pass? Yeah, right. Execute it. So you will get the this record count, and you can use the multiple statements as well here. Means let's say one is the insert, one is the update, or select. Means if you use the select at two times, means let's say here I am pasting it, and instead of that id, sorry, what are the columns of this? Trans id, then date, customer id, and entity, net amount, correct. For that particular means 3250 records we will get, alter it, and then execute it, correct. So here you will get 3250 records. So this is the data for that particular day, right. Means two results set, one is this and second is this. And let's say if I have to update the SQL statement, means I have to create the SQL statement at here as a update, then you can update daily meal collection, set rate is equal to, I'm just randomly setting here 5.36 to 5.36, where which is the transaction ID? Yes, this is the trans ID, correct. This is the update statement. and I'm commenting it. Okay, so alter, yes, and at the end, before of that, you have to check, select star from daily meal collection, specifically rate I want, correct? So rate, comma, transaction ID, and yeah, star I am giving for transaction ID this, correct? Means first of all, what is the transaction ID? Means transaction ID and rate and update statement, and then after we are selecting that particular transaction ID, rate and star, means all the columns. Execute it means it contains four select statement and one is the update. Execute it. So here you could see there is a one 3250. One is the transaction ID, means before it was zero, and after there is update statement. Here you could see update is third one, and then there is a fourth one, means this is the rate is updated from 25 to sorry 0 to 25.36, means there is a one row affected. So how we are getting one, then second result set, third, and then this is the fourth one, correct? Okay. And one more thing, suppose this is the stored procedure you created, correct? And I am just commenting it, or just control X. Here is the table name, daily meal collection, and then one, correct? I am trying to create it, correct? So let's create it. Yeah, let's alter it first of all. It is already created. So stored procedure is altered. There is a no problem. While executing the stored procedure, it is not checking that table is exist or not. When it trying to execute, it will means it is checking that particular all the things are fine or not. Then it is parsing, and then uh, we will get the error, correct? Because during the execution it failed because that table is not found. So execute this stored procedure. Yeah, object means invalid object name daily meal collection. Why? Because that table is not present, right? So this is the one clause. Yeah, there is a one more example. Means suppose if you pass zero value or a null value to the transaction ID as a transaction ID as a input as a parameter, correct? So this is the example. Means suppose if we are passing this is the value, right? And right now what I am doing here, I am just commenting it here, and yes, execute it. So it will give us the record belongs to that particular transaction ID. Yeah, up to this perfectly fine, no problem. Previously it was dead, but I converted into the as a transaction ID. And right now, what is the thing? Means suppose you are passing the zero value or a null value, then what will happen? We have to handle that case, correct? So if transaction ID is equal to zero or transaction ID is null, right? Means you are not passing, if you are passing the zero or if you are passing as a null, then how to do that? So here we have to make them as a transaction ID as a null, correct? Means transaction ID is a null, we have to handle. So there is a simple statement we have to. Right now zero is not comparing, means or a null is not comparing with any other things, right? So we have to retrieve all the data, right? So what I am doing here, where transaction ID, previously there is a transaction ID, correct? And right now I am using the coilies, and what it does, actually it retrieve the first non-null value. Means suppose it is the null, then actually what is the column name? Transaction ID. So you will get all the columns, all the rows of that particular table. If you execute it and you are passing the null, then you will get all the records belongs to that table. Correct. So yeah, 6,95,528. And if you are passing as a 1, then if it will give you exact result, or there is a 1 2 3 4 5. Let's see, let's check it. Yeah, or yeah, it is in a long number, correct? So if I am passing as a this value, so you will get that value. So I am, yeah, correct. And here you could see there is a execution plan. Yeah, I will show you how to optimize that. Means there is a how much records are read in background. There is a 69k 552. If you see last six or seventh row, then yeah, 70k records are reading. So it is not good, correct? So we have to make a index on that, right? So with the help of that, we can get the exact means call the exact index. So to make the stored procedure or that particular SQL query make a more performant. So right now, if we are executing it, so you are getting that record. Even in case of 0, then you will get all the records. So we handled null condition here, correct? And so here you could see there is a 6,95,000 records we are getting. Yeah, next use case is the output parameter. This is the input parameter. If we are not applying as a input word or something, those called as a input parameter. And here is the output parameter, correct? So what is our objective? When we are passing the customer ID, then we will get the customer name as a output. So here is the query for that. Means I am executing this stored procedure. Select first name from registration where ID is equal to customer ID. It is the very simple, right? So first of all, I declared here as a output parameter, right? And I executed it. Okay. And here declaring the one variable as a name and retrieve data. This is the stored procedure name, right? And one is nothing but the input. Instead of I am passing as a 10 customer ID, and name means whatever we are getting from that stored procedure, it will all assign for that particular name, right? And we are selecting the name here. Yes, yep, name Tim, right? So I am writing in another way. Set customer name is equal to select first name from registration where customer ID, correct? It is also fine. Execute it. And then yeah, here instead of 10 you can pass it as a 11. So you will get the different name here. Here is the result set, correct? Means actually here we are calling, means we are selecting as a in a select. So we will get in a as a result set. If we are print, then yes, it will print it in the message, correct? Means we can use this variable at we required. Means suppose there is a in entity framework we are calling, from application side we are calling, and if we are that value from stored procedure side in a variable, then we can use as a output parameter. Where to see stored procedure, correct? In daily project there is a programmability, and just drill down it, and here is the stored procedure. So click on it, and which we created retrieve daily data. And how to retrieve using the uh, query, select star from information schema, This is the schema where permission schema dot routines. So you will get all the stored procedure and functions list, and but you want only the stored procedures. So we have to pass the routine type as a procedure where correct, and here is the retrieve daily data. Here is when it was created or when it is modified. All the things are here. And one more thing, if you are creating at the first time and in the project sometime there is a if that procedure is already available, then no need to miss we have to alter that stored procedure. If it is a fresh, then it will create correct. So what we have to do, create or alter, create or alter procedure. So I think yeah, I'm commenting this part. So got it, and create or alter, yeah. Yes, this is the stored procedure, and if you see it, then there is a parameters means returns integer. Here you could see I have to refresh it, that's why. First of all, yeah, here is the varchar, and input or output, all the things are showing at here. And yes, miss, if you see view dependency, which tables are inside or correct on which tables it is dependent on. So you will get all the things are here. Means there is a registration and registration. Actually, right now we have to check only one thing. Means top level registration table we are calling inside the stored procedure, right? And here you could there is a modify, so you will get the definition and you can do the alter, and you can make a script as a create to alter to, or if we have to execute means actually if we have to execute it, then just click on execute and value is 55. Okay, so you will get name, and here you will get the statement as well. Declare return value int, then customer name. Actually, here return value don't need require. Yes, this is the simple call. Means customer name, and then there is a stored procedure name, then parameter. You can get the call using the execute stored procedure. And yes, we have to script it using the create alter, and yes, we have to drop it, then very simple, drop procedure name, just drop it. In the next session we will see how to improve the security from SQL injection. Means stored procedure will help in security point of view. So let's see in the next session. I uploaded all the scripts on my blog. If you open learn SQL with sagar.blogspot.com, then here you could see there is a stored procedure, or in SQL Server topics you can, or here stored procedure, correct. So I written some brief notes about it, so you will get that. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, please share it and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. Bye bye.